logically and rationally about the world we live in. For example, you might be an engineer or scientist, a doctor, pharmacist or nurse, a teacher, a manager or an administrator, a government employee, a business owner,
Unemployed nurse? Yeah.
an account rep, an executive, a lawyer, an accountant, a person working in the financial sector or human resources, an architect or designer, a software
Speed
developer.
it
10
up.
simple questions about your religion.
This guy
Here's an
needs to
example of the
speed it
kind of
up.
thing I'm talking about. As a Christian, you believe in the power of prayer. According to a recent poll,
Speed it up.
we all know that amputated legs do not spontaneously believe that God is curing cancers.
Oh, God.
Why won't God heal amputees?
Okay, why won't God heal amputees? The greatest question, the greatest answer that I can give you to this is, in reality, God is a spirit. He doesn't really, he's not a giant, a fleshly giant sitting on a gigantic golden throne in Alaska. No, he's a spirit. The whole belief behind the Bible, the end of the Bible, is that we are all spirits as well. So when we die, we actually all convert to a spirit form, or we get rid of the natural form, whatever you want to say that it is. But the purpose of God is really to get us into heaven, not necessarily to help us live a great life while we're here. So some people might see this as wrong. Some people might see this as true. Some people might see it as Christians just being kind of sadomasochists and wanting to hurt ourselves in order to make ourselves better persons. But in reality, in the Bible, it does kind of have stuff to support that. Like it says, it's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven. It kind of supports the belief that the more you have going for you, unfortunately, in this world, the more likely you're not going to get into heaven. So I know that sounds bad, and not people might like it, but that's really pretty much one of the main reasons why God's not going to come down and give you a leg, because you're only going to live, say for instance, if you're 5, that's different. But say for instance you're 35, you're only going to live a few more years in comparison, not saying it's not worth it, but in comparison to God thinking eternity, 35 years in comparison with forever, kind of like the 35 years is really not that important. So the way God sees it is, it's okay for you to go 35 years inhibited if in the end it makes you a better person.
Well, Mommy,
It's a simple question, isn't it? We all know that
Where's the
we
next
use on
question?
God's behalf to explain this strange fact of life. You might say, well, God must have sufferers. So the second question is, why are there so many starving people in our world?
The reason why I would say that there are so many starving people in our world is kind of because we did it to ourselves. God's kind of belief is that if Adam and Eve bit the apple, which was sinful, then we all created sin. So by allowing sin into the world, by wanting sin into the world, by willingly eating the apple, we allowed sin into the world. So he kind of was more like laissez-faire, like let them have it. I gave them the Garden of Eden, everything was perfect, and they want to go outside of my will, which is worshiping me and doing what I want you to do. That's the real deal here. God basically said, I'm gonna give you Eden, you're gonna do what I want you to do, and you're gonna worship me, period. And we basically said, I got better things to do. And so he's like, fine, have it your way. And our way is starvation and death and murder, and unfortunately it's kind of a thing that we do to ourselves, because we all know that this last 780 some odd billion dollars that the government gave to the banks, we probably could have put every child in the world through school. So we all know God is not the one today who's preventing little children from eating, but more likely to be ourselves.
talking to them.
Look out at our world and notice that millions of children works on the Sabbath
It's going
day.
too long.
Deuteronomy chapter 21. God demands that we kill disobedient teenagers. Leviticus 20.
What is he saying? Oh,
Look at
why does God
God demand the death of so many innocent people in
Okay, in this case, you have to come from it from the point of view of the Bible. If you think God created the world, He created the Bible, so technically, innocence is defined by the Bible. The Bible does say that disrespectful teenagers, that people who work on the Sabbath. Basically, like I was saying, God is a creator. He made us. He made the rules. And at the end of the day, if we don't follow them, that's sin. That's really what sin is. Sin is not human definition of what right and wrong is. In the Bible, sin is not doing what God says. That's simple. So basically, if it's kind of like I've always said it is in the comparison is having a computer. I made a computer to get online. Now, if I tell this computer go online and it says I don't feel like going online this morning, I'm going to throw it in the trash. That's because I'm the creator and it's created. Now, that's kind of the way God is seeing us. We're kind of like God's computer, and being right is kind of like going online. Like, that was our purpose. That's our purpose, is to go online, and we kind of decided that we don't want to. So God's kind of like, well, it's time to throw you away because you're not working.
The Bible. Realize that it's insane.
Where is question number? I have to hurry. Question number 5. Why is God such a huge proponent of slavery in the Bible? I don't necessarily think he was a proponent of slavery, especially not in the manners that Americans had developed it to be. He was more kind of a proponent of the person, like in Proverbs, they says, someone who has debt is slave to the person who loaned it to them. I forgot how it goes, but it's in Proverbs. So basically saying that if you have to be under somebody and you have to follow their rules and sleep in their house in order to work off your debt, then that's fine. And in those cases, most of the time, that's what slavery was made up of. I think if you read the Bible, and when he does talk about slavery, it's not in the context in which Americans did it. So in that case, it's not actually an evil thing. It's kind of similar to what we do now when we have credit card debt. So we're really just working for the other person. We might have our own house. We might be living in their field, but we're working for them. We're not really working for ourselves.
All intelligent.
All right. 6. Why do bad things happen to good people? Again, kind of like what I was saying, to make you a better person, and also in conjunction with the other idea of sin is rampant in the world. So making you a better person, and the fact that we sin and we allowed evil into the world because we basically told God to back off. And so, we are the ones that are doing this. He's giving us the chance to run it ourselves. And basically, we're showing everybody that we don't do a good job of running the world. Why didn't any of Jesus' miracles in the Bible leave behind any evidence? Well, some people from the History Channel have made shows saying that there is evidence left behind of everything that was in the Bible. That's just the History Channel archaeologists. I can't fight with that because I'm not an archaeologist. But people kind of say that, the Jews are still looking for Solomon's temple. Those aren't specifically Jesus' miracles, but it's kind of in the same vein. And it's more of a belief thing. I think, Jesus said that he would confound the wisdom of the wise. It's just one of those things that either you just believe it or you don't. It's kind of what it is, because it's more like a predestination kind of thing here we got going on. How do you explain the fact that Jesus has never appeared to you? Well, some people will say that he has. Some people say that he has. Some people will say that he's talked to them. I mean, come on. Some people see Jesus in a potato chip. So we really can't say, especially considering in this world in America where we have stated that every person has a right to believe and, a right to all these other things and to say what they think is true. It may not hold up in the scientific community, but how many points of views do? Everything is relevant. So really, we can't really say that he didn't appear to people. Question 9.
The computer.
Why would Jesus want you to eat his body and drink his blood? That was actually metaphorical. That's kind of one of the reasons why we have denominations. Catholics do believe that we're actually eating his flesh, like a barbecue, like a Jesus barbecue. More so, at least what the religion I am, Christian Methodist Episcopal, we don't actually believe that we're eating the flesh. We believe that's kind of metaphorical, that he's basically saying, I died for you, and, take this in remembrance of me. It's kind of where we stand. Not everybody's on the same boat. That's why we're different denominations. Why do Christians get divorced at the same rate as non-Christians? It might almost be higher.